Welcome back to our show, your show, Let's Talk Stocks. In studio with us this morning is Gabrielle Grand Gilpin-Hudson, and I got the name right.
You did get the name
Now,
right.
Gabrielle is a realtor and an attorney at law. See, two big professions all rolled into one. Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so attorney, realtor. You're in the big sectors that's moving and shaking in Jamaica right now. Real estate is a biggie, and everything real estate needs an attorney. So you wrap it up all into one. What is the real estate sector looking like for you now?
I want to say that the real estate sector is in an interesting place right now. We have the Jamaica overall as a real estate market, but then we've seen emerging these little pocket markets across the island. So different things are happening in different places, in different segments of the market. You know, we would have different activities. So I would say, for example, in the maybe up to $40 million category, the market is very much a buyer's market.
Okay.
Right? You know, there's not a lot of inventory necessarily. And then maybe if you venture up into the more higher price point segments of the market, definitely, you know, we're looking at a situation where there is not a lot of inventory again, and with the interest rate situation that we're experiencing, you know, things are taking a little bit longer to move.
As we look at that, and I'm happy you started there, looking at the different segments of the market. Certainly, there is over demand. Demand is major in anything maybe below 30 million.
Yeah, up to that about that, right. So up to about $40 million price point, we have more sellers. Well, we have more buyers than there are sellers. So you have a lot of persons that are able to qualify for their mortgages in that price range, and there is, you know, the options are not necessarily vast, and so sellers in that price point really can have their pick and choose of who it is that they're likely to accept an offer from.
And when you look at the urban centers really is where the demands are built around.
Right, for residential for sure, right? Because people want to live closer and closer to where they're working. People want to own their own homes. Home ownership in Jamaica is a very, very big cultural thing for us because we're, you know, kind of socialized to think that to have pride in home ownership. Whereas, you know, in certain other markets, it's not a big deal to rent, but definitely Jamaicans really like to buy. So that, I think, also, you know, forms a part of the narrative of persons really pushing to afford their first home, and a lot of first home buyers would be in that segment of the market.
So we've spoken about residential generally, but there seems to be a change in the commercial market space. We're seeing more demand there.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of cranes across Kingston right now. So you know, a lot of commercial real estate will be going up right now. Some of it for sale, a lot of it for lease, and so commercial is booming at the moment. You know, I think what would have happened is we went for quite a bit of time without any new commercial buildings going up, and I think now is the time when people are really starting to catch up to fill that backlog of demand for commercial space. So
should the government then pat itself on the shoulder and say, well, given the increase in commercial demand, we're doing something, the economy is growing? Is that what we're seeing?
I think that some of it is to do with our economic success story. So we're doing very well economically, but I think also a lot of it is to do with persons having, you know, funds that they want to put to work, and they see real estate as a good investment, and particularly, you know, building commercial space so you can be a landlord and, you know, obtain rental income. I think people see that as an attractive opportunity.
It's interesting that you went that route, because the statistics tend to show between equities and real estate over the long term tend to give the better returns. Are we seeing, for example, as you look at whether commercial or real estate investments, are we seeing the capital markets themselves facilitating that kind of development, that kind of investment. So there's the pension funds, etc.
Most definitely. So even in my capacity as an attorney, we would represent a number of our clients seeking, for example, bond financing or other kinds of private placements to raise funding for these type of real estate projects. So a lot of it is being funded through the capital markets. Yeah.
And are we getting more and more sophisticated in the types of financing that we see? Is there, for instance, a lot of foreign funds coming in to fund some of these projects? Are we seeing the local pension funds, for example, driving any of these?
I think it would, from where I sit, I would definitely say that the money seems to be more local, which is great. A lot of it is local money coming through pension funds and also accredited investors.
Okay.
That would be participating in these kind of private placements and these bonds that would be, you know, backing these developments. And I think some of those institutions are also doubling back and even buying into these developments, you know. So I definitely think that we're getting more sophisticated where that's concerned, you know, even insofar as looking at creative structures like, you know, preference shares and or, you know, listing to access funding to do these kind of, you know, real estate funds. All of those things are things that persons have, you know, even reached out to me in my capacity as an attorney to advise them, and they're like, well, we're thinking about, you know, do you have REITs in Jamaica? So that's a very popular question I get from, you know, potential clients overseas looking, thinking that it might be a good investment opportunity to come down here and look at potentially doing some sort of REIT.
So listening to you then, Gabby, so yes, the real estate sector is doing its thing, and it's coming off the fact that people are seeing Jamaica as an investment opportunity by and large. But I hear you saying there are people reaching out, not just real estate, but people are looking at investment opportunity in Jamaica generally, across the board. And so you're, as an attorney now, are helping to formulate some of these structures in terms of what vehicle the investment comes through. Is that something that you're seeing a lot?
Yes, for sure. And I would also say that, you know, I think that persons do recognize that we have probably the most sophisticated capital markets in the Caribbean, and I think that makes us attractive in the sense that persons see that, okay, well, we have a stable legal system, a stable political system, you know, everything is pretty stable here, you know, our improved ratings for, you know, our GOJ issued debt and stuff like that. It's really instilling a lot of confidence in Jamaica, and people are noticing internationally. So even in the tourism space, which we do a lot of work in as well, you would see that a lot of foreign investors are interested in expanding and acquiring you know, their tourism product here. And it's not just in tourism because, you know, whereas these industries are in the news and in the headlines, there are other industries that go into supporting these industries that are also doing well. So for example, construction companies, things like all of these different companies that supply these industries, they are also in a position where they're ripe for investment because they need to be filling the demand for all of these different services.
Do you feel like Jamaicans abroad, the diaspora, should be taking a closer look at Jamaica? Not just the remittances. I mean, yes, you send back the remittances and it's good and so on. But do you feel like they should really be looking at, hey, as you look at that nest egg, Jamaica is going to give you that kind of returns?
100%. And I would say that that is the case in the real estate market and even in the equities market, because I think that a lot of our equities are in a position right now where they are at, there is value to be had if you, you know, buy the dip. And then as far as real estate is concerned, if you look across the Caribbean, Jamaican real estate is really low on a price per square foot basis if you were to compare apples to apples. And I think that there's a lot of room for some of our real estate products that continue to appreciate in value. So I think, you know, if a member of the diaspora was watching, I definitely encourage you now. It's an amazing time to look at what's happening in Jamaica and think seriously about coming back, whether that is to own a piece of the rock through real estate, open a business or invest in a business, I think now is a really good time for that.
All right. So are we then, as Jamaicans, still on the rock, missing the boat? A lot of times we tend to think foreign, and the opportunities are here before us, and we are missing out on those opportunities. Are we missing it at this point in time?
I think that persons are trying to take advantage of the opportunities. I see persons looking to launch new businesses and go into new areas. I think that what is a challenge right now, and we'll be covering it in the news recently, is there is some challenges with getting well-skilled labor. And that can be a challenge to anybody looking to open a new business, because you need to find persons to work in that business for you. So even if you have the best idea, who are you going to hire to come in and help you run that business and scale that business? I think that basically we're at a very delicate point where we really need to look at our training and education, outside of just traditional school education, to facilitate this big business expansion, financial literacy, real estate literacy. Like, we really need to, be all hands on deck to make sure that everybody understands these things so that we can enjoy and participate.
So we've been talking with Gabrielle Gilpin-Hudson. She's a realtor and an attorney at law. And of course, you've heard all the things she's been saying. No way we could do this in one show. Join us for the second part of this discussion with this learned attorney at law and realtor. Of course, as we always say here on Let's Talk Stocks, we give you information to make better financial decisions. Come back with us for the second part of that program, where we continue to chat with Gabby.